This is All India Radio. I am Anuja Kumar and with me is Tanvi Taneja with the midday news. The headlines. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announces major schemes to boost demand in the country by 73,000 crore rupees. Prime Minister releases 100 rupees commemorative coin in honour of Vijayaraje Scindia. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh dedicates 44 bridges in 7 states and union territories to the nation. 7th round of military-level talks between India and China to de-escalate tension along LAC underway. GST Council meets today to discuss compensation issues. And in IPL, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Kolkata Knight Riders in Sharjah at 7:30 this evening. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a note of precaution to stay safe and stay protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear face masks, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now, the news in detail. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced major schemes to boost demand in the country by nearly 73,000 crore rupees. Addressing a media briefing in the national capital today, the minister laid out the details of the fiscally prudent proposals to stimulate demand in the economy. Ms. Sitharaman informed that the new proposals aim at giving a thrust of around 36,000 crore rupees to the consumer demands by the Leave Travel Concession LTC voucher and Festival Advance Scheme. Additionally, she said, 37,000 crore rupees will be infused in the capital expenditure by the centre and the state governments. Briefing about the schemes, the minister informed that in lieu of the LTC for the 2018 to 21 block term, cash payments will be made for the leave encashment and payment of travel fare. The travel fare has been recategorized into 3 flat rate slabs, depending on class of entitlement. The employee will be able to buy goods or services worth 3 times the fare and 1 time the leave encashment before the 31st of March 2021.
Where the taxation was levied on 10 days of tax, their leave concession, that will still be levied. But can they travel now? They can't because of COVID. Many of them don't want to. So instead what we are offering is, they could have that money is given to them, for which we have had about 3 kinds of slabs created. And based on that 3 slabs, which is as per the government rules and procedures, they could spend that money in buying something of their choice. So the amount which is given to them as per their government rules, their rank, their position, their whatever, is now brought to 3 different slabs. And they are flat rate slabs, which is equivalent to the travel ticket, the round ticket that they would get. And that, which will continue to be tax-free, will have to be spent on items which have 12% or more GST tax levied on them.
The payment for the purchase has to be done through digital medium and the GST invoice has to be submitted in the office concerned. The Finance Minister informed that the new proposal is likely to cost nearly 5,675 crore rupees for the central government. She said if the proposals are uniformly implemented by the state governments, an overall additional consumer demand to the tune of 28,000 crore rupees will be generated. Under the Special Festival Advance Scheme, Ms. Sitharaman said that interest-free advance of 10,000 rupees will be made available to all government employees.
So in the 7th Pay Commission, there was no provision for festival advance. We are reviving it just this one time. And this time, we are giving 10,000 rupees for all central government employees, irrespective of their position, rank, gazetted, non-gazetted, it doesn't matter. And this shall be repaid in 10 installments. But this festival advance will be available up to 31st March. I think what it shows in the presentation says 31st January, and this will be given as a prepaid RuPay card. So a prepaid RuPay card will be given to them. It's an interest-free advance. You will be able to use it for any festival up to 31st March 2021. So in the next 6 months you can use it. It's a prepaid card for 10,000 rupees. We are not limiting it for any one festival. We are not limiting it to the GST only shops. No, you could spend it anywhere you want.
She said, considering 50% states as well adopt the scheme, it is likely to infuse nearly 8,000 crore rupees in the demand sector. In her announcement towards special assistance for states for utilization under capital expenditure, Finance Minister informed that special interest-free loans with a 50-year repayment term and amounting to 12,000 crore rupees will be disbursed. Under the assistance scheme, 2,500 crore rupees will be given to the northeastern states and northern states of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. 7,500 crore rupees will be given to other states in proportion to their share in the Finance Commission devolution. The minister also announced that an additional amount of 25,000 crore rupees will be provided by the centre through capital expenditure on roads, defence infrastructure, water supply, urban development and domestically produced capital equipment.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today released a commemorative 100 rupee coin in honour of Vijaya Raje Scindia, one of the founder members of the BJP. Vijaya Raje Scindia is also popularly known as the Rajmata of Gwalior. Paying tribute to the leader, Mr. Modi said the life and work of Rajmata Scindia was always connected to the aspirations of the poor, and her life was all about Jan Seva. He said she was one of the personalities who gave direction to India in the last century and witnessed every important phase of Indian politics.
भारत को दिशा देने वाले कुछ एक व्यक्तित्वों में राजमाता विजया राजे सिंधिया भी शामिल थी। राजमाता जी केवल वात्सल्य मूर्ति ही नहीं थी, वो एक निर्णायक नेता थी और कुशल प्रशासक भी थी। स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन से लेकर आजादी के इतने दशकों तक भारतीय राजनीति के हर अहम पड़ाव की वो साक्षी रही। आजादी से पहले विदेशी वस्त्रों की होली जलाने से लेकर आपातकाल और राम मंदिर आंदोलन तक राजमाता के अनुभवों का व्यापक विस्तार रहा है।
The Prime Minister said Rajmata Scindia dedicated her life for the future of the nation and renounced all her happiness for the future generations of the country. He said her life exemplifies that love for the nation and a democratic temperament is all that is needed for serving others.
आज जब हम राजमाता जी का जन्म शताब्दी मना रहे हैं, पूर्णता की ओर हैं, तो हमें संतोष है कि भारत के नागरिकों की जागृति को लेकर उनकी जो कामना थी, बांके बिहारी में उनकी जो प्रार्थना थी, वो आज लग रहा है कि धरातल पर चेतना के रूप में अनुभव हो रही है। बीते वर्षों में देश में जो अनेकों परिवर्तन आए हैं, जो अनेकों अभियान और योजनाएं सफल हुई है, उसका आधार ये जन चेतना है, जन जागृति है, जन आंदोलन है। राजमाता जी के आशीर्वाद से देश आज विकास के पथ पर आगे बढ़ रहा है।
Enumerating a series of progressive reforms and developments in the country, Mr. Modi said Rajmata Scindia would have been happy to see these positive changes. The program was attended by Union Culture Minister Prahlad Singh Patel and close relatives of Rajmata Scindia's family. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurated 44 bridges built by the Border Road Organisation BRO and laid the foundation stone of Nechepu Tunnel in Arunachal Pradesh today. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Singh said 44 bridges which are located in the 7 states and union territories will usher in new era of connectivity and development, especially in the far-flung areas of the country. Hailing the hard work of the officials of the BRO, the minister said these bridges will prove immensely beneficial in terms of military and civil transport in the western, northern and northeastern areas of the country.
देश के सीमावर्ती इलाकों में सड़कों, सुरंगों और पुलों का लगातार निर्माण आप लोगों की प्रतिबद्धता और सरकार के रिमोट एरियाज में पहुंचने के प्रयास को दर्शाता है। सीमावर्ती क्षेत्रों में सड़कें न केवल सामरिक जरूरतों के लिए होती हैं, बल्कि राष्ट्र के विकास में दूर दराज के क्षेत्रों की भी बराबर भागीदारी सुनिश्चित करती हैं। इस तरह ये पुल, सड़कें और सुरंगें हमारे सामाजिक आर्थिक विकास के साथ साथ मजबूत राष्ट्र और मजबूत लोकतंत्र की शिराएं होती हैं। नेचीपुर टनल, जिसके लिए कार्य आज प्रारंभ किया गया है, सामरिक और सामाजिक दृष्टि से समान रूप से ये महत्वपूर्ण है।
These new bridges are located in Ladakh, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir. 8 bridges in Ladakh that were built at a cost of 45 crores are on 4 strategically important roads close to the line of control on west and line of actual control on the east in the Ladakh region.
अपनी इसी जिम्मेदारी को जारी रखते हुए बॉर्डर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने जम्मू कश्मीर, लद्दाख, हिमाचल प्रदेश, पंजाब, उत्तराखंड, सिक्किम और अरुणाचल प्रदेश में मिलिट्री पर्पज और स्थानीय लोगों की आकांक्षाओं को पूरा करते हुए कुल 43 ब्रिजेस का निर्माण किया है और इनके निर्माण से हमारी पश्चिमी, उत्तरी और साथ ही साथ नॉर्थ ईस्ट के दूर दराज के इलाकों में मिलिट्री और सिविल ट्रांसपोर्ट में निश्चित रूप से बड़ी सुविधा मिलेगी।
Our Leh correspondent is telling us more.
8 bridges in Ladakh at a cost of 45 crore rupees are inaugurated by the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today. Speaking on the occasion, Rajnath Singh said the bridges built in a record time are not just strategically important but also key in socio-economic development of Ladakh region. The bridges varying from 24 to 80 meters of span are at different altitudes in Ladakh region. 3 bridges are on Jojila-Kargil-Leh highway, 2 are on Khalsar-Sasoma road and 1 each on Shanku-Kunor-Sapila Mulvik Road, Nimu Padam Darcha Road and Turbuk Shayok Daulat Beg Oldie at line of actual control. Nimu Padam Darcha is developed as an alternative access to Leh from Manali through Janskar. This is a strategically deceptive road avoiding any enemy observation of movement. These bridges are built by Ladakh's located BRO projects Vijay and Hima. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News, Leh.
In Ladakh region, the talk between India and China is underway to resolve the border issues on line of actual control. The commander-level talks between both the countries began at the Chushul border personnel meeting point on the Indian side. The military commanders are meeting for the 7th time to work out the measures to preserve the peace and tranquility at the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh region. Fire and Fury GOC Lieutenant General Harinder Singh and his successor Lieutenant General PGK Menon are leading the Indian delegation. Sources associated with the talks process said that for the first time China also sent a senior-level foreign ministry official in their delegation. During the 6th round of talks between commanders on the September 21st, a senior diplomat and East Asia Region Joint Secretary Naveen Srivastava participated in the Indian delegation. The talks mainly focus on disengagement of forces from several friction points, especially finger areas of Pangong So, to ease the unprecedented tensions on the border between the two countries. A massive unprecedented power outage is being witnessed in Mumbai due to the failure of the central grid of Tata Power at Kalwa in adjoining Thane district. The power failure affected the lifeline of Mumbai, the suburban local services on both central and western line as trains got stuck where they were. Central Railway Chief PRO Shivaji Sutar said as many as 30 to 35 local trains were stuck up on various sections. It simultaneously also affected the operations of banks, government establishments and corporate offices not only in the financial capital but in the entire Mumbai metropolitan region. A report from a Mumbai correspondent.
Commenting on the cascading effect which the power failure had on the island city and other adjoining areas like Thane and Palghar districts, State Power Minister Dr. Nitin Raut said power cut happened due to a technical glitch in Circuit 2 of the Karwa Padgha powerhouse. The Tata Power said there were simultaneous substation trippings at 10 past 10 in the morning at MSETCL's Karwa Kharghar, which caused a huge dip in frequency in the Mumbai transmission system, which led to tripping of Mumbai power supply. The power tripping came as a double whammy for the BMC, which is battling in containing the COVID-19 pandemic in the city. Soon after blackouts were reported from multiple places, BMC Commissioner Iqbal Singh Chahal directed all the hospitals to contact their respective SWM transport garage officers to get enough supply of diesel for at least 8 hours so that there is no power failures in hospitals, especially ICUs. Meanwhile, power restoration has been reported from different parts of the city. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Taking a serious note of the major power outage in the Mumbai suburban areas, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has ordered an inquiry into the incident. He said immediately a probe be launched to bring out the reality. He also directed the concerned officials to remain alert so that such an incident is not repeated again. He said action should be taken against all those who are responsible for the technical glitch that led to the unprecedented power failure. Thackeray also directed the BMC Commissioner to make an alternate arrangement so that the power supply is not affected there. In order to avoid any untoward incidents, the Chief Minister has also asked the control room of the state government and the Mumbai Fire Brigade to be on alert.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will chair the 43rd GST Council meeting through video conferencing in New Delhi today. The decision on the mode of payment of pending GST compensation share of the states is likely to be discussed in the meeting. The meeting will be attended by Minister of State for Finance Anurag Thakur and Finance Ministers of States and Union Territories. In the last meeting, Mrs. Sitharaman had assured that states' goods and services tax revenue shortfall this year, either due to GST implementation or due to COVID, will be met completely. She said nobody is going to be denied compensation for the losses. In the 41st meeting of the GST Council in August, the centre had given 2 borrowing options to states to meet the GST compensation requirement for the current financial year. States can borrow either 97,000 crore rupees from a special window facilitated by the RBI or 2,35,000 crore rupees from the market. The Finance Ministry had said 21 states had opted to borrow 97,000 crore rupees to meet the GST revenue shortfall. However, other states did not choose any option and wanted the centre to borrow and pay the shortfall. You're listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. Before we move on, a reminder of the headlines. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announces major schemes to boost demand in the country by 73,000 crore rupees. Prime Minister releases 100 rupees commemorative coin in honour of Vijaya Raje Scindia. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh dedicates 44 bridges in 7 states and union territories to the nation. 7th round of military-level talks between India and China to de-escalate tension along the LAC underway. GST Council meets today to discuss compensation issue. And in IPL, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Kolkata Knight Riders in Sharjah at 7:30 this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. The government today said that the country's recovery rate among the COVID-19 patients has reached 86.36%. During the last 24 hours, more than 71,000 COVID patients have been recovered. Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has reached over 61,49,000. The constantly increasing recoveries have ensured that the actual caseload of the country has reduced and currently comprises only 12.10% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 8,61,000. In the last 24 hours, 66,732 new cases have been reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country so far to over 71 lakh. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.53%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the last 24 hours, 816 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 1,09,150. Health Ministry said the top 5 states in terms of percentage of the active COVID cases, case fatality rate and recovery rate are showing gradual improvement in their performance. These states are Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. According to ICMR, during the last 24 hours, more than 9,94,000 tests have been conducted. The total sample tested so far has reached to over 8,78 lakh. In Tripura, 199 fresh cases of coronavirus were registered and 317 patients were discharged after recovery in the past 24 hours. According to the state COVID-19 bulletin, the total number of infected people rose to 28,352. 3,633 patients are presently undergoing treatment. In the state, the recovery rate of COVID-19 has further improved to 86.06%. The fatality rate presently stands at 1.10%.
Internationally physically challenged cricket player and former vice-captain of the national cricket team for physically challenged, Mahinder Vaishnav appeals to people to follow 3 major steps to protect oneself from COVID.
Hi, this is your friend Mahinder Vaishnav, Indian blind cricket player. Unlock process has been started now, but we need to still follow strictly the guidelines of COVID-19. Whenever we go out, basic 3 things we need to follow. Number 1, put on the mask every time whenever you go out. Number 2, maintain social distancing. And number 3, wash your hands clean. Keep your hands all the time neat and clean. Save yourself from COVID-19 by following these basic 3 guidelines. Thank you.
Telangana state reported 1,021 new COVID-19 cases during the past 24 hours. With this, the total COVID cases in the state has gone up to 2,13,084. The state conducted over 30,000 tests yesterday. The recovery rate has also slightly improved to 87.91%, with 2,214 more people recovering yesterday. The State Medical and Health Department stated this morning that the total deaths rose to 1,228, following 6 more people succumbing during the past 24 hours.
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its bilingual live phone-in program today, will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Rupali Malik, Associate Professor of Internal Medicine, Safdarjung Hospital, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskEIR. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates. Today is World Arthritis Day. The objective of the day is to create awareness among people about rheumatic disorders as well as to sensitize the government and policymakers about the disease. This year, the theme of this day is It is in your hand, take action, which is more relevant during COVID times. Talking to AIR News, Head of the Department of Rheumatology, AIIMS, New Delhi, Dr. Uma Kumar said, arthritis disease not only affects our joints but other organs also.
Don't abuse your joints by putting extra pressure on them by working in a wrong posture, because it results in accelerated wear and tear, leading to what we call as degenerative arthritis or osteoarthritis. Avoid being overweight or obese. Refrain from smoking. Eat healthy and nutritious food. Do physical activity of 30 minutes every day. And also contribute towards keeping your surroundings clean, be it air, water or land, because air pollution, recurrent infections, be it viral or bacterial, predisposes to arthritis. Be free from arthritis.
In Madhya Pradesh, 10,000 villages of 10 districts have been selected in the first year under the Swamitva scheme. Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday virtually launched the physical distribution of property cards under the Swamitva scheme to transform rural India and empower millions of people. Swamitva is a central sector scheme which was launched in April this year with the aim to provide the record of rights to village household owners in rural areas and issue property cards. More from our correspondent.
With the help of Survey of India, a Government of India unit, maps were made through the help of drones. On the other hand, the record of rights is also being prepared through door-to-door surveys in the rural settlements. The population survey work has been started in the 3 districts of the state, Dindori, Sihor and Harda, from June. 44 villages of these 3 districts have been included in the first phase of the Swamitva Yojana. So far, record of rights of 49 villages has been published in the Madhya Pradesh. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Jammu and Kashmir, 2 terrorists were killed in an encounter that broke out between terrorists and security forces in Rambagh area of Srinagar city. According to police, a joint team of security forces launched a coordinate search operation at Rambagh following intelligence inputs about the presence of terrorists in the area. As the joint team approached the suspected spot, the terrorists fired upon them and security forces retaliated, in which 2 terrorists were gunned down. The identity of the slain terrorists is being ascertained. Search operation in the area was going on when reports last came in. Further details are awaited.
In Bihar, today is the last date for the withdrawal of candidature for the first phase of elections in 71 assembly constituencies. Nominations of 1,090 candidates have been found valid in this phase. 71 assembly constituencies spread over 16 districts will go to polls on the 28th of this month. A large number of independents and candidates from small parties have filed their nominations. BJP is contesting from 29 seats, JDU from 35, Hindustani Awam Morcha from 6, and Vikashsheel Insan Party VIP has fielded 1 candidate in this phase. The Grand Alliance RJD is contesting from 42 seats, while Congress has fielded 21 and CPI-ML 8 candidates. The administrative preparations for the first phase of elections are in full swing. More from our correspondent.
The notification for the third phase of assembly elections will be issued tomorrow for 78 assembly constituencies spread over 15 districts. The last of filing for nominations is 28th of October. Scrutiny will be held on 21st October and withdrawal of candidates is 23rd October. For the third phase, the polling would be held on 17th of November. The nomination is underway for the second phase in 94 assembly seats. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Patna.
Kerala, the highly literate state, is pioneering the digital classroom technology, and it is introducing high-tech classrooms in all its public schools. A report from a correspondent.
Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan made the official announcement of all the public schools in the state becoming completely digital today morning. The state has successfully completed the high-tech smart class project in government schools with financial aid from KISBI as part of the Public Education Rejuvenation Mission. Kerala Infrastructure and Technology for Education, KITE, has implemented the project, which comes under the General Education Department. Over 3.74 lakh digital equipments were distributed in 15,027 schools for the smart classroom project. Apart from the KISBI fund, the asset development funds for public representatives and local government funds were also utilized for the project. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
Former Indian football captain Carlton Chapman passed away due to a heart attack in Bengaluru this morning. He was 49 years old. He was hospitalized with acute back pain yesterday. Chapman was a formidable force along with Baichung Bhutia and I.M. Vijayan in the 1990s. In IPL cricket, Mumbai Indians beat Delhi Capitals by 5 wickets in Abu Dhabi last night. Opting to bat first after winning the toss, Delhi posted a competitive 162 for 4 in 20 overs, riding on Shikhar Dhawan's unbeaten 69 from 52 balls and Shreyas Iyer's 42 of 33. For Mumbai, Krunal Pandya picked up 2 wickets, giving away 26 runs. Earlier, in another fixture, Rajasthan Royals beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 5 wickets in Dubai. In today's encounter, Royal Challengers Bangalore will take on Kolkata Knight Riders in Sharjah at 7:30 in the evening.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky. Srinagar and Ladakh will have mainly clear sky, while the temperature in Srinagar will hover between 5 and 26 degrees Celsius. In Ladakh, the minimum temperature was -1 degree Celsius and the maximum will be around 21 degrees Celsius. Gilgit and Muzaffarabad will experience mainly clear sky. Temperature in Gilgit will hover between 9 and 28 degrees Celsius. And in Muzaffarabad, the minimum temperature was 13 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 33 degrees. In Mumbai, there will be generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. The national capital Delhi will have mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was recorded at 19 and maximum will be around 35. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. And Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announces major schemes to boost demand in the country by 73,000 crore rupees. Prime Minister releases 100 rupees commemorative coin in honor of Vijaya Raje Scindia. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh dedicates 44 bridges in 7 states and union territories to the nation. 7th round of military-level talks between India and China to de-escalate tension along LAC underway. GST Council meets today to discuss compensation issue. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore to take on Kolkata Knight Riders in Sharjah at 7:30 this evening. And with that, we end the midday news.